Tonight, the oil spill in Alberta has people crying foul. Some First Nations school children are having themselves a language-speaking contest. This is APTN National News for Thursday, May 5th. I'm Dana Foster. Michael Hutchinson is away. Tonight, a construction company has obtained a court order to remove a group of protesters in British Columbia. But first, there are growing concerns tonight over the impact of a large oil spill in northern Alberta. 28,000 barrels of crude oil spilled from a broken pipeline onto lands claimed by the Crude. Environmental officials say the air is safe, but a local school has been shut down and 120 students have been sent home. And many residents are saying the odor of the oil is causing a burning feeling in eyes and chests. The American owners of the pipeline are reportedly heading up to the area. Alberta's environmental minister says an investigation into the leak is underway.
It's too early to speculate whether charges would come into play. Clearly, the charges would relate to lack of maintenance and/or a lack of adequate response.
APTN's Noemi Lapinto is currently in the area where the spill took place. She just toured the scene by helicopter and joins us now. Noemi, what could you see of the spill from the air?
Well, we could see the broken, exposed pipeline and a long, older cut line that's completely blackened by crude leading towards the east side of Lake Lubicon. There were about 100 people in white jumpsuits working on the site, and a small black lake of black crude in the muskeg surrounded by a makeshift border made out of wood. And right in the middle of the lake of crude were 2 beaver dams.
Some people in the area say there's an odor that's making them ill. Have you detected any of the effects?
Absolutely. The smell seems to waft in and out, so sometimes it's all right, and then suddenly you smell kind of an unmistakable smell of gas or propane. Since I've arrived personally, I have been feeling symptoms of what some of the people here have described: nausea, headaches, and burning and itchy eyes.
Oh, that's terrible. The Crude have spent years fighting against these pipelines. What are people on the ground telling you there?
People are both angry and worried. They're mainly worried because government has been almost completely absent from the community here. It's been almost a week. The ERCB and Alberta Health Services haven't sent anybody up. The only people who sent somebody up were the oil company, and all they sent was an Aboriginal relations guy who actually didn't have any information for them. The chief says that the pipe is one of the oldest on their territory, and he says he should have been getting regular reports on the integrity of the pipe for years, but they've been stymied by stalled land claims negotiations with the government. So he's holding both levels of government responsible and says they'd better do now what they didn't before, which is protect his people's health and watch for impacts on the environment.
Thank you, Noemi.
Thank you.
In a strange twist to this story, animals are being recognized for helping slow the spread of the spill. A beaver dam located near the pipeline spill is so far helping contain the oil into one area. Sadly, the beavers themselves are reported to have all died from oil poisoning. The oil spill in Alberta has heightened the fears of many First Nations opposed to new oil projects. For the Yinka-Dene Alliance in British Columbia, it confirms their opposition of a new pipeline that will stretch from Alberta to northern BC coast. Now the alliance is trying to target one major oil company where it hurts, in their pocketbooks. APTN's Megan Fiddler has more.
They traveled a long way to deliver their message. The Yinka-Dene Alliance are in Winnipeg, protesting CIBC's support of the major tar sands pipeline company, Enbridge. The alliance represents 6 First Nations in BC who are resisting Enbridge's proposed Northern Gateway pipeline. The pipeline would pump crude oil from the Alberta tar sands to a port in Kitimat, BC.
We came here to to tell CIBC that they need to adopt ethical policies that respect, free, prior and informed consent of the affected Indigenous peoples and our communities.
Thomas spoke to shareholders and executives at CIBC's annual general meeting. Among them, the president and CEO of Enbridge, Patrick Daniels.
We have significant concerns about the role of your bank in providing significant financing of more than $1 billion for Enbridge.
The fear is that a pipeline burst could have devastating effects on the environment, like this spill in northern Alberta, affecting lands of the Lubicon Cree. The Dene wants CIBC to consider how an Enbridge pipeline will put even more lands in jeopardy.
They would carry oil from the tar sands through our lands and through many of our critical salmon-bearing rivers. This dam would sustain our people and our culture.
The Yinka Dene Alliance has been spreading the word to all major banks in Canada and internationally.
I also came back from a UK tar sand speakers tour in London and Scotland and attended the Royal Bank of Scotland's AGM in terms of their financing, internationally in Canadian projects in the tar sands.
With this latest spill in Alberta, the Dene's efforts to stop the proposed Enbridge pipeline will probably take on even more urgency. Their next step, Alliance members hope to meet with Enbridge at the company's annual general meeting later this month in Calgary. Megan Filler, APTN National News, Winnipeg.